because when women speak, the world listens. At least when I speak, the world listens. Good morning, good morning, good morning. The time check it is 7 minutes past 9. This beautiful Thursday morning, Thursday the 6th of August, 2026. And you're tuned into Women Radio WFM 91.7. This is Heartlands. Good morning, Bookie, and good morning to our Heartlands family out there. How are you today, Bookie?
Yeah, it's good to see you once again, and also our Lens family. I know I was off for about 3 days. Nima, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me, Nima?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear
Oh,
you.
okay, because it's telling me my network, whatever. Maybe I'll have to switch, but I'm fine. I'm fine. So, our Lens family, how are you doing as well? I hope you're good. Good, 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 good. Today's Thursday, right? Yes. Though I've missed you for 3 days now, but I know you're doing fine with
Yes,
Nima, because I think Fumi was not around. She was on an official assignment. Yeah. So I'm sure Nima must have given you beautiful experience.
oh, we
All
missed
right.
the
Okay.
program. You missed
Yeah.
the shots. It's happening
Thank
in
you. Yeah.
anyway. Let's start with. Oh yeah, before I forget, we're live on YouTube at WFM 917, and you can listen to us on the go via our website www.wfm917.com. Before our phone lines are open, you can send a text or WhatsApp message to 07031 756 537 or 08155 917 917. Good morning, Ibinabo. How are you this morning?
Yeah, good morning, Nima, Lady Nima herself. Good morning, Lady Buki FA. Good morning to all our valued listeners, the awesome ladies and gentlemen. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Mm, beautiful day today. Okay, let's start with um the statements by Pastor Sarah Omakwu, who said young men marrying older women is a red flag. The senior pastor has stirred conversations after sharing her opinion on younger men marrying women older than them during a church service. According to the cleric, she considers such marriages a red flag, arguing that many younger men who avoid women their age because they consider them childish may not be mature themselves. I'm seeing young men these days marrying women that are older than them, she said. She added that while age gap marriages may have worked in previous generations, today's women are more outspoken and less likely to tolerate certain behaviors. Questioning the decision of younger men, she says your age mates are too childish. You too are childish. How did you finish with the person that is senior? She also challenged the expectation that an older wife should automatically submit to or respect a younger husband simply because of marriage, saying, is it not even uncalled for somebody who is older than you to be respecting you? She also acknowledged that her opinion may not sit well with everyone, but stood firmly by her position, concluding, anyway, it's my opinion. Do whatever you want with it. What say you, Buki, about this?
Nima, it's really an interesting interesting conversation. But even with the fact that it's interesting, it's pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Let me start from where I think she's coming from. She's a pastor. She must have seen marriages of all sorts, and probably from where she sits, she must have seen marriages emerge down where younger men are going for older women. And maybe she has data, maybe she has evidences, right? Because she did not mention what those red flags are, right? And then she did not substantiate when she mentioned it would be hard for them to submit. I would have loved to probably listen to the whole, what do you call it? The whole
Conversation she had.
conversation, yes, conversation she had, so that I will know where she's coming from and where she's actually going. Picking it at the center, social media is always good at that. They'll just pick
Yes.
something, but I'm sure she must have situated it in the context, which we are not privy to, except we listen to the entire sermon or conversation, like you said, Nima. But however, from my own experience, I have seen younger people marry older women, and their marriages are good. In fact, there is a particular one. She is 10 years older. That is the highest I've seen, 10 years older than the man. I've seen 1 year, right? I've seen 1 year, and I've seen 2 years. I've seen 5 years. They're not common. Please, they are not common, but they do happen. In fact, yes, what am I saying? I've seen another 10 years. In fact, he's a pastor. Yes, 10 years. Yes, so that makes two cases that I've seen. Yeah, 2 cases that I've seen. And I've also seen cases. In fact, I have intervened in someone's marriage. She is 3 years older than the man. Yes, and their own issue was not even in terms of submission or whatever it is, but it was the fact that the man had a certain expectation from the wife, in terms of doing the things that she's a businesswoman, and
Okay.
she works morning till night, and the man didn't really have a constant job. So it's the woman that is like the breadwinner, but there are frictions that will come in that, okay, I'm going to work, you take the children to school. And then he comes to say, after all, you are the woman, take, the children to school, that one. So, but the woman, by the time I spoke to the woman, I knew in terms of submission, the woman was doing it. For a very long time, they did not even allow the family to know that she was the breadwinner, because she loved the man. And when I was asking her that, but your husband was younger, why did you accept to marry him? He said, because they are friends. And for her, she didn't see the need why she would say no. Both of them love themselves, they understand themselves. They were in the choir, right? And everything was good, until the man lost, his job, and all that. And for her is that, yes, I know what I was coming into, and I'm going to submit to him. And when I talk about submission, I always say this thing. It has nothing to do with master slave. It's the man setting a direction, setting the vision, setting, the values of the home, and leading the home. But this is where I want to camp around, and then I will stop my conversation. It is your choice. If you as a woman, you want to marry somebody who is younger, is your choice. But there are some things you have to consider. Are you willing to submit, to this man? Because once you say you want to marry, right? As far as God who created marriage, you must submit. You must let the man lead. You must let the man take directions. You must let the man lead you. And then you are following, right? That does not mean that you are not a leader. I always talk about look at it in a corporate entity. You can't have 2 leaders. There has to be one leader, and then the other person is supporting, and your own support is even gidigba, because you are a support. When you say something is the support, you are even the stronger one, because you are the one giving support, to that man. Going back to this 10-year-old gap marriage, I mean, I'm looking at the two of them now as I'm talking, and I imagine you will not even know except they tell you. But if you are very observant, you will know that the wife is, you know, in terms of future, a little bit older and all that. But you see, and when a woman says, I want to submit to somebody who is younger, the woman is ready to say, you know what, I take you as my husband. However, the husband also has to realize that, yes, I'm dealing with somebody who is older by me, older in terms of age, but that does not mean that in terms of what we're supposed to be doing in a relationship, you know, discussing, there sometimes there will be arguments and things like that. Even when it is reversed, they argue. But at the end of the day, both of them will have probably done a proper discussion on how they will go about it. And of course, it works, because at least I can see these two examples and it's worked, but there's a whole lot of work to be done in it, because the lady, there was a time we asked the lady to come and talk to us. In fact, both of them had actually talked to us. And the lady mentioned that, yes, I'm older, but I also respect the fact that he's my husband and I am willing, you know, to step down, you know, for him to take the lead. It's only when I think the direction is not too good, his decision is not too good, then I know how to come in, because a woman naturally is matured than a man. Even when you put them on the same pedestal, a man who is 25 and a lady who is 25, you find out that the lady who is 25 is matured, you know, and then she will now use maturity, you know, to sort it out. So what am I saying is that it's your prerogative, it's your choice. But if you want to go into it, know what you are going into it, get proper counsel, and be ready to stoop low, you know, not that you enter the marriage and say, at least I'm older than you. No, that will not happen in a marriage. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Buki, for your submission. Even over to you.
Okay, thank you, Nima. When I saw this story, what came to my mind was age is nothing but a number.
Hmm.
Um, I looked at what she said. There was something she said. She said, "Is it not even uncalled for, like rightly mentioned, somebody who is older than you to be respecting you?" I
Yes.
don't see anything. I don't see anything wrong with that, because some people, some men work under younger women and they respect their bosses.
Hmm.
So somebody may say, okay, it's different, but it is still, that means, I mean, do you think that it is a bit different? Because if somebody, are you respecting that person because the person pays you your salary? You see, respect should be something that comes with a person's character. It's not something that you have to now, you have to pick from the shelf. Okay, I'll pick respect this morning because I'm going to the office and my boss is younger than I am, so I have to respect her whether I like it or not. Then when you get to you drop it and then you pick another whatever from the shelf and says that, okay, my wife is older than I am, but I'm the head of family, so I can't respect her. I mean, it is like working at cross purposes. That is not, you're not naturally a respectful person.
Hmm.
You see, how do we even perceive submission? When we talk about submission, how does a husband perceive submission? How does a wife perceive submission? Because most people feel submission is not having a voice. Submission is always saying yes to whatever your husband says as a wife. Submission is control. It's not. It's not. So if you don't have a clear-cut understanding of what submission should be in your home, you're going to have issues. Just like Buki rightly said, I have friends. There was even a particular couple. They dated. I knew them well before they even got married. We were all in school together. But I later got to know that the wife is actually 5 years older than the husband. I was shocked.
Hmm.
Because of how they relate with each other, how they do things and everything. One is not disrespecting the other. They were just good. They were just very good together. So you see, mostly it is not about the age gap. It is about your perception of submission. It is about your person, your character. Because when you are getting married, you love your wife. If you love somebody, you don't want to tether them, you don't want to restrict their growth, you don't want to shut their voice, you don't want to make sure that whatever they say does not hold anything. You are the Alpha and the Omega. You are the one who will say A and A must be. If there is this mutual understanding, and by the way, you have to even understand that, okay, in every home, there has to be something we call operational dynamics. What am I saying? I'm looking at how roles and responsibilities are apportioned. I'm looking at your communication. I'm looking at your financial management. I'm looking at your household routines. I'm looking at your relationship and interactions. By the time you're able to put this in the right perspective, your age, you will not remember that you are older or you're younger. But when somebody's always bringing that up, because somebody told me something some time ago that the regret she has marrying an older or marrying a younger man, it was because he was always say anytime they had any heated argument, he would say, what is the essence of you being older, by the way? Was always bringing it into the conversation, which really broke her to pieces. Aside from that, everything was going on fine. And it got to a point where she couldn't hold it together anymore. She had to call him and they had a discussion. And he said in his mind, he wasn't thinking about her age. He was telling him, was saying it because, she's not a little girl, not because she's older than him. And that was how that issue was sorted out. So you see, the quality of a relationship depends on a number of factors, like I said, not just on age. We're talking about mutual respect. We're looking at compatibility. We're looking at commitment, active communication. We're looking at empathy. How do you feel towards your spouse? When your spouse is down, do you have empathy? When your spouse is not able to meet up, live up to your expectation, how do you fill in that gap? How do you let your spouse understand that you're not comfortable with the trajectory of your relationship? You see, so a lot of things come to play. What do you say about people who marry, they are age mates? Don't they have issues? Don't they have fractures in their homes that they need to mend? So you see, bottom line for me is we have this very warped perception of submission. A man feels submission is the woman shouldn't say anything. He has the final say. Whatever he says is law. She doesn't have an opinion and everything. And some women believe that submission means that I don't have a voice. So I have a voice also, I cannot, understand. But if you understand that submission is not about who is the boss, it is about, okay, if my husband makes a lot of sense, if his own contribution makes more sense than what I have put forward, I should agree. I don't always have to be the winner in every conversation or in every argument or in every misunderstanding. That is submission. Submission is not for the woman alone, it's for the couple. Submitting to one another. Because if you don't submit to your wife, you cannot be one with her. If she doesn't submit to you, you cannot be one with him. So the bottom line for me is age gap is not the only deciding factor for a successful or a good prediction for a successful marriage. There are other ingredients. Egusi soup is not only containing egusi. Egusi soup is useless if there is no fish or beef, if there are no condiments to add up to it. Jollof rice does not make jollof alone. It comes with pepper, tomatoes, and other ingredients. So for you to have a very wholesome, a very beautiful home, it comes from both sides. It is when you make it the duty of one to always see to it that there is peace in the home that there is problem. Oh, the woman must be the one that must bring about peace in the home. If there are issues, the woman must be the one to make settlement. If there are problems, she must be the one to shake. It's frustrating. But if both ends would come together and meet at the middle to make things work, I mean, it's going to be beautiful. You won't remember your age. Where age matters for me is when, you know, the age gap is so much that the woman probably is already in her menopause. And you as a man, you want children. So how does she, well, there are artificial means, there are medical means, but are you thinking about your health as well? You understand? All of these things put together, above and beyond that, age is not a problem. And it is not a one size fits all. I believe age is not a problem. It doesn't now mean that if my brother wants to marry my age mate, I will say, yes, age is not a problem. You understand? I have my reservation, but on a very general note, age shouldn't be a problem. If age is the problem of your marriage, then why did you even marry? Were you not aware she's older? Were you not aware he is much older than you as a lady? Why does it suddenly become a problem? So, it's not a one size fits all. I may say age is not a problem. Somebody will say age is a problem. It is their prerogative. It is their choice. So nobody should force anything down anybody's throat. However, there is more to a good relationship than the age gap. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ibn Abel. So I have a question, and the question is this senior pastor, Pastor Sarah, is she projecting on other people, or do you think, she's talking from a place of experience? But before that, it's 9:30 this beautiful Thursday morning, and you've been listening to the ladies of Her Lens give their thoughts on young men marrying older women. We're live on YouTube at WFM 917, and you can listen to us on the go via our website, www.wfm917.com. Our phone lines are now open. You can call us on 0800 1235 917 or 07000 917 917 or 09155 917 917. Okay, Binabo, over to you.
Thank you. You see, like Buki said, we don't have the full video. You know, sometimes you make a sentence or you say something, and social media for sensationalism, they'll just pick something and then they push it to the public. So though we have not seen the full video, but you see, this person that made this statement is a pastor. And you know that she must probably have dealt with a lot of issues with different couples. So maybe she drew a conclusion from there. Maybe over the years, she has come to realize that most of the couples where the woman is older, they've been having particular issues, common issues that would make her to conclude that, please, older women, stop marrying younger men. Or it could be from our own perspective. We all, even no matter who you are, whether you're a pastor or you're a lecturer or you're just somebody, a regular person living his or her life, we all are entitled to our opinion. So that could be our perspective. It doesn't mean it is law. It doesn't mean that is what's obtainable or should be obtainable even as Christians. But I would say that above and beyond the pastor's perspective and all of that, I feel that age gap is not the only deciding factor for a successful marriage. There are other factors that should be considered. That was why I mentioned what is it called now? Operational dynamics in a home. It is important. These are things that you must discuss. You don't just say I'm in love and then you play blind to everything that is wrong while you are still cutting. If you know that you are going to marry this person, you have to look at operational dynamics that must be adhered to in your home. You don't just arrive in a future you're not prepared for. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your submission, Ibn Abel. So Buki, Daniel, Rega, the social media personality, was reacting or is reacting to the increase in the salary of our military personnel. So he is saying, what's the point of a salary increase when the cost of living keeps rising? I know we say it every time. Everything rises. Fumi's favorite example, eggs, the cost of a crate of eggs keeps rising, yet her salary doesn't increase. But here we are seeing that the salary is actually increasing, but other things are also on the increase. Do you think the ratio is well balanced?
Okay, you are free to whatever opinion based on what you see. And you know, it's social media. People love to talk, and some of them actually talk based on their level of reasoning.
Hmm.
No doubt, we all know there is inflation. Everything is on the rise. If I see him, I will have said, okay, you are complaining that Oga President Tinubu increased salary. Do you want him to just leave it like that and not to increase? What exactly do you want? The man sat down and said, you know what? Inflation is high. Let me increase. I totally agree that the ratio is not the same. For instance, if inflation has increased by 20%, so everything you want to increase will probably be up to about 25%. But at times we know it's not at par, but there is an increase. And I did a little bit of mathematics, though we do not know um, the the real salary, you know, the real salary of, I mean, let's talk about a private. It's not a public consummation thing. You know, you try to find out and all that, but there are pointers. One is saying that okay, it's about 45,000. Now they have increased their own by 80% because you know they are lower. The big ogas from the generals, blah blah blah, brigadier, everything is about 30%, which makes a whole lot of sense. Then the people under me in the middle band, from colonel to warrant officer, 50%. But from private, you know, to the recruit and all that is 80%. So technically, they have increased from 45 to 100. And you know that minimum wage is about 70. So they're
Yes.
even above the minimum wage. So let's look at it. Somebody who has been earning 45K, who has been
But not
struggling, who has been struggling. Now you now say, I'm going to give you 100K. I mean, you'll be able to buy some things, at least back than when you were earning 45, right? It will not meet everything. Tell me whose salary met everything, except maybe, the likes of the Dangotes and the whatever, that they're business owners and they're making a whole lot of money, right? Tell me, even the person who is earning good salary in a corporate whatever, they will still complain to you that the salary is not enough because their lifestyle has increased. I can tell you that, wait, by December, January, these same people that they increase their salary will start complaining. Why? By September, when they pay them, the 100,000, oh, they will say, ah, thank God. At least they're no longer borrowing 10,000 here, 20,000 here. Probably they can now buy one or two things. They can now buy milk. They can now buy, some things will come so easy for them. By the time they begin to settle October, November, December, their lifestyle will increase. Then they'll start complaining again. But on the surface, for me, I think it's a good step. We need to say thank you, to President Tinubu, because it's clear that he wants a sort of reformation in that community to improve their morale. He wants to retain experienced soldiers because we really need them now, right? And then, of course, he also wants them to be able to support their family and also strengthen national security. Because I'm sure you must have found out that a whole lot of them are compromising. Not that the compromise it will still continue, they will still collect bribe. It's their lifestyle. They will still collect it, except where they really, really reform the whole system from top to bottom. But hey, will it make them happy? Absolutely. Because somebody who is earning 45 now has an extra 55K, more, for him to spend, right? And then, of course, I also know that aside from this salary, they also have other benefits, housing, they do ration allowance, medical care. I'm sure all that also will be looked at. Nobody should ask me if this is in the budget. I'm sure he knows what to do, because I know this increase was not in the budget, but I want to believe that they have a way around it, either to move money from some other areas, to this, or possibly, call for, more money, to be approved, under the supplementary budget, which looks like it. But I also know that if they have more revenues coming in, they can always put it into this. I want to believe that they will have worked around it, that I think it's about 0.4% of our total budget, because the increase is about 260 something million, billion rather, 260 something billion. But the bottom line will be that the soldiers will still be happy. Let's go to town by September when they get it. Yeah, some of them will say, yes, it alleviated a part of their suffering. Some will still say, no, it's not enough. You cannot satisfy everybody. But let's understand where it's coming from. He has looked at it, that I need to increase the salary of these people. Let me increase it. But however, I know this is going to take some push. And that push is that some other agencies will also now begin to clamor for increase, right? But I think we need to look at what he has done. For me, I think it's good. Thank you.
Okay, so I think Ibinabo has network issues because she has left the call pending the time she comes back. So, Buki, I said at the beginning that you missed a lot this
Yes.
past 3 days. Yesterday, we were talking about this soldier who, wearing his uniform, was begging from a TikToker during a live TikTok live, basically. I don't know what it's called. So today, I now saw another article where two soldiers, a male and a female, went to act as bouncers at Javis and Pella's wedding. Do you know about Javis and Pella's wedding?
Yes, I saw it everywhere. Yeah.
The reason I asked was during a big question, one show, Fumi was like, if not for people bringing it to her attention, she didn't know about Javis and Pella because they are not in the same generation. And I actually asked, and that was why I asked if you know about
Yes. It's on social media, Yeah.
goodness. So these soldiers went to act as bouncers there. And yesterday, when we were talking about the soldier who was begging, Susan and Ibinabo both agreed that he is a man in uniform, so he should have respected his uniform and not to have worn that uniform while on TikTok live. But the action itself, both of them had varying views on it. So now this same issue of uniform or no uniform, one of the soldiers, I don't remember if it was the male or the female, was not wearing the camouflage. It was more of this NYC color. But the other person was wearing the camouflage, like their proper t-shirts, not even the jackets, the t-shirts, as bouncers in Javis and Pella's wedding. So now people came out to say, why would some people were like, why would they wear their uniform as bouncers? Why would soldiers even be bouncers for civilians? And some other people are like, "She soldier will not eat any." Exactly that. They have military training, so they should take whatever job is available to them. And a third group said, while they might take the job, even if they did not take the job, the issue is the uniform. Why wear Nigerian uniform to be a bouncer at a civilian wedding? I'm not taking any point here. I want to know what you think about it.
Okay, yeah. Let me quickly wade into this. I think Ibn has joined.
Yes.
It is very wrong of a human being to wear the uniform and be begging. It's very wrong. And I believe that should also make them to go and check their policy. Because when you put on a uniform, that is Nigeria. That is Nigeria. If people do not know, that is you are representing Nigeria. That is why a policeman, very short, can stop someone on the road, and you stop, because that is authority speaking. You have now lowered, the brand when you now go and beg. If you want to beg, because we all know that people do 2 jobs, 3 jobs, you remove the uniform. You remove the uniform and you come in plain clothes. Let them know that that is your side also. For the person the 2 people who went to do bouncing, whatever job, is very wrong. Honestly, they should be, they should face it. That would teach other people a lesson. If you have enrolled as a bouncer, you are not supposed to use your camouflage or your uniform. Bouncers have other uniforms that they use. We see them everywhere. So people will know that, oh, that's your side hustle. I don't think it's wrong for them to do side hustle. Everybody does it, everybody does it now because they need to make ends meet. But it's very wrong of them to have won that. Yeah. I don't say they should not do side hustle, but for them to put on that uniform is very wrong. Thank you.
Okay. Ibn Abo, over to you. Did you hear the backstory I gave on what Buki and I were discussing?
Actually, the network bounced me out of the program. I had to find my way back on board.
Let me give a short recap.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
I told her about the discussion we had yesterday on the soldier, beg your pardon, who was begging in his uniform while on TikTok live. And I saw another video today where 2 soldiers went to work as bouncers in Jarvis and Pella's wedding. So some group of people said, no problem if it is a side hustle. After all, everybody has to hustle. Some groups said, why would soldiers act as bouncers at a civilian wedding? While a third group were like, whether or not they take the job as bouncers, they are not bothered. The issue is the uniform. Why wear Nigerian uniform to a civilian wedding where you are being paid as a bouncer? So quickly, what is your view on that, Binabo?
Okay, thank you. Thank you. You see, the problem is many people, mostly this junior ranking officer, lower ranking officers, do not understand the meaning of uniform. If you are walking down the road in your regular outfit and there is an emergency across the road, maybe somebody just fell or somebody fainted, nobody will reach out to you say, Nima, please come and help, come on. They'll just generally call for help.
Yes.
But if you're putting on a nurse's uniforms known to be worn by nurses, you are the first person people will call to come and help because they believe you are a nurse, so you know what to do. There's an emergency, there's a particular kind of medical help you can render. That is the power of uniform that most people do not understand. And that goes to tell us why some of these officers would misbehave most times, because they don't even understand what their institution is all about. Because if you know what it means to be a military officer, you would understand that you cannot just put on the uniform and misbehave outside of the description of what that job entails. That is why you will see a military officer, somebody will go to him and call him to come and help them beat up somebody, and they will go there and beat the person up. Is that their responsibility? Is that their primary job? That is why you will see that when there are issues in certain communities, the next thing is, if you have soldiers around, go and bring them to come and harass people. Is that their primary responsibility? No. So you see, I think the institution has a lot to do. A lot to do in the sense that you need to keep reminding these people, train and retrain them, not only in physical activities or in carrying guns or knowing how to handle AK-47, but to tell them the power that that uniform carries and that you cannot afford to misbehave while putting on that uniform. You see some officers in certain places where they are selling, maybe they are selling alcohol, they will sit there in their uniforms and they are drinking alcohol along with other people. And then what comes to your mind is, see a girl, see police, see soldier, see this, see that. They dig ogogoro with people. You understand? Because you do not add value to that uniform. And that has to be reiterated by their organs at the top. Let them have better understanding. There are certain things you cannot do while you are putting on your uniform. Your uniform is not for you alone. It is a representation of the organization you belong to. So if you do, just like some children, I remember there was a particular school I invited to for they had a program. So I was invited. And the principal came out to address parents that please, after school hours, stop sending your children on errand while they are putting on their uniforms. People don't understand the power and what uniform represents. And it is high time we talk about it. You see a child in the evening, this child has closed from school since afternoon, and this child in the evening still puts on this uniform running errands. It is wrong. So we need to understand that uniforms represent something. Is it your school uniform? Is it a uniform you wear as a security personnel? Is it a uniform you wear as a medical practitioner? You have to know that that uniform speaks volume about you. So when you're putting it on, you don't misbehave. You're not found in certain places. You don't walk outside of the kind of job that uniform gives to you. So that is the problem we have with most of our uniformed men. You see them in the wrong places, putting on their uniforms and doing the wrong things. And they don't want you to talk because when you say it, they now intimidate you with that uniform again. So I think it is the responsibility of their how you behave with the popular senior officers with your uniforms.
Okay,
you have
thank
to
you,
mind that.
Igbo. So before your network cut you out of the meeting, we were talking about Daniel Rega's reaction to the president increasing the salary of the military personnel. He said, what's the point of a salary increase when the cost of living keeps rising? Please, in 2 minutes, can you give your view on this?
Okay, I think I had a bit of what Buki said before I was removed by the network. For me, I feel sometimes I don't think, in my opinion though, I don't think it meant that it was wrong for the president to have increased the salary. Let me quickly say that kudos to the president for doing that. That is what we want. We want a president who feels the heartbeat of the people he is leading. Having said that, I feel the man is coming from an angle where he believes that you don't throw money at every problem, because trying to solve an issue primarily by spending more money rather than identifying and fixing the underlying causes is another problem being created. Because, we have talked about artificial inflation in Nigeria. I remember when I was a little girl, each time there was salary increase, I used to hear people discuss, if you go to the market now, what used to cost a particular price would now go up. So I grew up believing that every time there is salary increase, it will affect the cost of items in the marketplaces. And that is what we have till date. So what I would say is that, yes, that man has an entitlement, is entitled to his own opinion. But I feel it's coming from a place of, we cannot keep throwing money at every problem. Let's solve the root cause of this problem, which the government is trying to solve. However, I feel that there is need to put certain things in place. Things like checking the markets. We don't have price control agency, or do we still have the price control agency like we used to have so many years ago? This agency will see to it that no market person would begin to hoard their goods or suddenly increase the prices of items because there is increment of salaries. So we need that to be put in place, because what is the essence of your salary has been increased on Monday, and by Wednesday, what used to cost 60,000 naira is now 80,000 naira? Because we need to have it in mind that it is not every Nigerian that is a salary earner. In fact, a larger percentage of the population, I've seen some statistics here and there, we have more people in the private sector, we have more people being self-employed. And we know that when there is increment of salary, it somehow, in a very subtle way, affects the prices of commodities in the marketplaces. So we need the government to look into that. While you increase salaries, also make sure that market women, market men do not automatically add more money to the cost or prices of their commodities. I remember during there was a particular time that the Oni of Ife made it mandatory that every the markets in Ife, you don't sell a particular staple items in the market beyond a particular price, and that made a lot of sense. So I feel that there is something that the government can do in terms of controlling the prices. Don't allow inflation to make nonsense of the salary increase, because inflation will always come and rubbish the increase that the government have put in salaries. At the end of the day, it will not look like, what is the essence of increasing my salary? Now I only enjoy the increase for a few days, and now I'm back to square one. So please let the support from the government be all encompassing. Let it be that while you increase salaries of workers, those who are not working, those who are not under the paid employment of the government should also not, be left out. But make sure that the marketplaces, the prices of essential commodities are very stable. Not that today's salary increase, tomorrow price will just skyrocket. Thank you. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, ladies, for your submission today. We have run out of time. Do have a wonderful day. To our Highlands family, thank you for staying with us. Thank you for listening. You're listening to the voices of the ladies of Highlands, Lady Buki, Lady Ibinabo, and myself, Lady Hassan Matula. Up next is Radio Doctor. Do have a wonderful day. Good morning.